What's going on, everyone? Welcome to Friday Night Airbrush Down and Dirty Tricks. Hope everyone is doing well. Hope everyone's had a great week so far. Finally back in action after last week. We'll talk about last week and what I'm going to do about that. And we're going to get moving forward on a very cool painting, something fun. I haven't done a skull in a little bit. I haven't done a pirate skull in a while. And for those that don't know why I'm doing it, Disney Pirates of the Caribbean was one of my favorite rides. Great movie as well. What they did is the gold pile skeleton pirate. You know, the pirate when you first kind of come in early in the ride, and it's this cool pirate sitting on a big pile of gold in the gold room. Well, they updated it with something new, like a newer version that has like an animated face. And it was kind of cool, but it was also a little janky, honestly. Like, it looked a little goofy, I thought, from what it was. And everyone complained, and people talked about it, and Disney did the right thing, and they put the skull back, the original skeleton. So, with that being said, that was all in kind of the news last week, I think it was. So that got me thinking, oh, it'd be really cool to do one of these skull panels. So I haven't done a skull in a while, and this is going to be fun. And I want to approach this like an illustration. So what I did do, and there's a poll up, and we were leaning one way earlier, but now we are 50-50. So we're going to give this a few minutes and see where we're at. Because right now, what just happened? No, I didn't stop the poll. I didn't want to stop the poll. Did that stop the poll? Shouldn't have stopped the poll. Hold on a second. Yeah, so there's a poll up. You know, do we want to do an aluminum panel or a canvas wrap panel? So I did a canvas wrap panel. I prepped it, gessoed it, did everything. So I'm really interested to see where you guys are at. You know, I think my feeling is the pirate skull a little bit more traditional. Painting being on canvas has a little bit more richer feel to it. It's something we haven't done here before. So let me see if I can get that poll. What happened with that? Because I don't know what happened. Yeah, no, I killed that poll, guys. I'm sorry. So we're going to have to do it again. Aluminum. I'm going to spell that wrong. Canvas. And all right, we're going to start this again because I just want to where we're at. Oh yeah, I hit end poll. That's why. Yeah. I want to see the poll. Okay, so let's see what we do. Let's give it a few minutes. And in the interim, let's show you what we're working with here. And maybe it'll help you make up your mind. Let me get this panel down. This is the source material. All right, this is what we're going to be painting. I'm going to turn this light on. I'm going to get a little brighter here. There we go. That is the sketch I did. And if any of you guys were on earlier today, I did put up a members only post for, sorry, I'm trying to get this chat up back into my teleprompter so I can see it. I put up a post earlier today, which was kind of a behind the scenes for members of how I did the concept sketch. And I used Procreate is what I did. And pretty simple, actually. I wish I queued it up. I should have queued it up and had it here to actually play, but I did not do that. That's all right. While we do that, let's see who we got. Oh, speaking of members, so the members, if you're a member of the channel, you got to see the behind the scenes video. And these are our members. I didn't update this list from last week, so if anyone joined last week to now, it'll be updated before the next one. I want to thank all our supporters, including our Blue Skulls, and I'm pretty sure Mike Manning, Mike McClellan, Chris Garcia, for you guys, Mike Stanton, I think you're also Blue Skulls, but I didn't get to update that this week. So Blue Skulls mean you've been supporters for 3 years constantly, and that's awesome. I will have that set up and done before the next feed. I usually try to do it every week if I can. It takes a little bit. So thank you all for that. And let's show you our reference image here. So that's what we got. So that's going to be the reference image. And I worked this, if you didn't see, I worked from a very low res image. You can see it's very pixelated. So that's the actual skeleton. It's got a really cool lighting. So I'm going to use the same kind of purple background, a little green, yellow dynamic lighting in it. I really want to kind of capture this feel. So I really want to treat this as an illustration, kind of show you guys how to work that through. So, I took that and did an overlay. Oops, that's last week's. And we'd have this sketch here. So this was the sketch I ended up coming up with, kind of loose and rough. And I printed it out. My panel is going to be 14 by 18, no matter which panel I choose. So I prepped them both, and I'm going to show you how to transfer the image and how I do that. We've talked about that before, but I'm going to do it live. And I'm going to work this painting all the way through. This is going to be a multi-part. It's not going to be all done tonight. So I just really want to work you guys through an illustration from start to finish. I haven't even pre-mixed the paint yet. So this is going to be no holds barred, no prep. Show you how it's done for real. That way you kind of see things come together for the good or bad that happens. Hopefully not bad. And we'll talk about bad. It wasn't bad, but it just wasn't working well. So let's talk about last week's image, which was this guy. All right. We got halfway through. We started getting going. And it was getting hot as heck. Paint was being funny because my humidity in the studio last week was up around 62, 63. Because I didn't have the ACs on. So I got the ACs on tonight just to keep it cooler and drier in here. And we're at like a nice 76 and 37 humidity. So that helps the paint, especially water-based. So between that and realizing this was a very difficult image to pull off. And I realized this wasn't really suitable for a live stream. So in the middle of it, it was getting really hot, paint wasn't going, things weren't going well. There was a lot of questions going around, my head was just spinning, and I was exhausted, so I ended up cutting the feed. First time I ever had to do that, but it had to be done, or I was going to probably say stuff and do stuff that wasn't going to be great on the feed. So I wanted to avoid that from happening at all costs. So my plan for that is I'm not going to end it. I actually, when the feed was done, I sprayed it with reducer and wiped it off, so it's gone. It's gone. I didn't want to show you that on the screen. But I'm going to redo that one. I'm just not going to do it live. Realizing how much subtlety and nuance is that painting, it doesn't yield well to a live painting. And that's the thing about painting live. I really like it to be always moving forward and always showing you new things and showing you how to work problem out. But this one is so subtle and so much going on, I got to either focus. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to redo that painting. I'm going to do it as a recorded how-to. And I'll probably end up starting it from members only first, and then I'll make it available down the road. That way I can do sections with my head down, do all the hair, maybe do some high-speed edits, and then explain it really well in all the little nuance and changes. So that's going to be the plan for that painting. So I do apologize for that feed last week. If you try to go back and watch it, it was deleted right off the bat. But not everything is suitable for live. Maybe if I had painted it before and had it all set and I knew every nuanced step, I could pull it off live and not have a boring feed. But we were an hour and a half in and there wasn't much done on it. It just was looking janky. And it has to look like that at certain stages, but I can explain that better in a feed. So that being said, let's we'll revisit that another time. With this one, I'm also going to do something I've never done before. We're going to add a little trivia. And maybe I'll make this a random thing here and there. And we'll do maybe some giveaway stuff as a part of it. So what you have to do for giveaway to make it easy, you guys have to get on my socials. Facebook or Instagram, easier to do. And you will go to either of these. And if you end up being the one that gets the answer right, message me. Please don't look it up. So let's try one and see how it goes. And what we'll do, whoever gets the first one, we'll give away one of my strainer kits. All right, that could be cool. First time giving away. We'll see how it goes. I don't know. Let's see. Where did the original Pirates of the Caribbean attraction open at Disneyland? Oh no, not when. What year did the original Pirates of the Caribbean attraction open at Disneyland? Don't look it up. If you don't know it, don't go searching. Come on. Let's see if people are real fans who know it. And we'll do a strainer. I'm going to write this down. So, yeah. So we'll go from there. Okay, we'll see how that goes. All right. While we're waiting for a few answers, let's see. We got Brian Moore. Hey, Brian. Brian Keller. Ray Shea. Selena. Dan Mayer. I think I saw London Pennant here. We got Nightbreed. Brian Keller. Brian Moore. Jonathan Parsons. Who else we got here? Carlos. Angara. Andrew. I'm going to butcher that. I'm sorry. London Penn. James Collier. Dan Mayer. Todd Keith. It's Selena Studio as well. And Joe Walker. Be safe, man. If you didn't see at the beginning, Joe Walker was on before we started, and he said they're going to have to catch us later because they're getting evacuated, flooding in the area of Indiana. So let's all hope he's safe and sound. And while you're at it, do that poll. I'm going to close that out soon, and we'll see if we get any answers on that feed. The delay is weird, so... Brian Moore? Nope, that is not correct. And this is at Disneyland. Maybe Disney World was later. But again, don't look them up. If you look it up, whatever, but you'll know you did wrong. And I'll figure it out. Oh. Who said 1967? Paul Green Taylor said 1967. Paul, you got to get onto my socials. And you can message me your details, and I'll send you one of those out. That is the correct answer. Paul Green Taylor. Yep. Actually, March 18th specifically was the time. So, yes. That is a... I honestly have no clue. I didn't either. That's one good thing for ChatGPT. GTP? I don't know. I asked to get it all set. All right, so we are, where are we here? How many votes? All right, we got 12 votes. We got more than last time. We're at 50-50, guys. I don't know. Nightbreed, thank you so much for that. Let's give a little, we got some new sound effects. We even got that. I've been messing around with sounds. Thank you very much for that. Brian, you watched the prep video? Cool. So for those who didn't watch the prep video, and I wish I had queued that up on my feed here so I could just put it up. But it's for members only, so all your members get to see it. I use Procreate on my iPad for that. But you don't have to have an iPad to do it. If you're on any other tablet, or if you're on a PC, or you're on a Mac with a tablet, or PC with a tablet, one of the cheapest programs, I think it might even be free now, is Sketchbook Pro. Autodesk Sketchbook Pro, super clean. That's my go-to software for the most part, and on my iPad I use Procreate. But they work identical, and they work very simple. You bring the image in, put it on, create a new layer, lock that layer. I usually dim it a little bit, and then I start doing my rendering and kind of sketching on top of that. Then I refine. I kind of go through in that video. So if you're a member, you'll go through that. Those are things we're going to start doing a little more of, a little bit more behind-the-scenes action. So, yeah. Give it to someone else. Oh, in the UK. All right, Paul, message me anyway. If you have a plotter and you do plotter work or graphic work, I will save this for the next one, and I'll let you pick a download in the store. That way you can download it for free. How's that? I think that's a cool way to do it. I should have done that first. Anyway, so yeah, if you're overseas, shipping's a bear right now and it costs a lot. Paul, that's awesome. Yeah, message me anyway. We'll send you a download and do something from there if you're cool with that. If not, just let me know. Or you can download and give it to someone you know that can do it for you. Yeah. Oh yeah, Krita. Krita's another one that works great. That works super good. The other one I'm learning the vector side of it so I can teach it better because it's free. It's really good. Affinity Designer. Affinity Designer works really good because Adobe's getting really expensive. And you can't just, most of us are just going to use Illustrator, and there's no basic Illustrator practice that's actually worth it, I don't think. It's a lot of money, especially for a recreational user. I don't mind having the whole suite because I use Photoshop, I use Illustrator, I use Express, I use Media Encoder. I use all that stuff in my day here. So, Brian, Paul, that's cool. Appreciate it. We'll work that out with someone else. But if there's anything in my stores or you know anyone who needs something, let me know. No. So I only know one trivia fact about Disney. What's that? Because I'm only doing Pirates ones. Okay. So we're 50-50, guys. I'm going to call it. I'm going to do the canvas, which is actually going to be a little bit harder, but it's new. It's different. We haven't done a canvas here. And the point is, the process I'm going to use on the canvas is no different than the aluminum panel. The only thing I can't do is use magnets through the aluminum to my stand to stick things. But other than that, everything is going to be the same. So the process doesn't really change, but I think it'll be, you know, a more painterly paint thing, and we'll grid it up, and I think hanging, it's going to be a lot cooler for Pirates of the Caribbean to be on an actual canvas. Okay, so we're going to do that. And that pole, yeah, it's 50-50. The last one was like 60-45, whatever it was, 60, whatever. And we got more votes this time than the last one, so yeah. I had a canvas. I had canvas first, and then you switched. So yeah, man, I think canvas would be fun. So let me show you what I got here. Let's go.
I'm not quite sure how to help you with that.
Let's go super source here. All right, you know what? I'm just gonna go side shot. Let's go side shot, full. All right, so this is our artwork. Hey Joe, awesome. Hope you're doing all right. Get out of there. Make sure you're safe. No need to be a hero. Keep you and your family safe, man, and let me know how everything goes. Yeah, canvas be something different. So I have my image here. We've talked about this before. Disneyland is in LA. That's why it's Disneyland. Disney World's Orlando. Ah, yeah, that's cool. All right, so this is a gallery wrap canvas. So this is a thick canvas. It's like 1.5 inches thick, really nice and tight. And what I did today, as you can see, I gessoed it. These come pre-primed. I don't like pre-primed canvases. Yeah, so most canvases you get from the store are primed anyway, which they have gesso, or they call it primer. Gesso is primer, basically. But it's very weak. So what I did is I brushed on 2 nice layers of a sandable gesso by, I think, Golden. I think it was by Golden. So I put 2 nice coats on it. Got nice and thick. There's still a nap, but it's a little smoother than how it comes. Because, you know, raw canvas is this color. Most people don't paint on raw. Most times if you get them in the store, they're white because they've been primed. This one, I etched that factory primer, and I put 2 nice heavy coats of gesso on top of it. So I think that'll be, that way it'll still have a little texture, so you'll know it's a canvas, but it won't be super. It's like, you know those canvas boards? I know Brian knows. Brian uses them. I think, Brian, you use them quite a bit. The canvas boards, really thin ones, they have a heavy texture. And honestly, I don't think artwork looks very decent. It looks okay, but I don't love the look of it on there because I think the texture distracts from the artwork. So the gesso will still get that nice feel. We'll still see the nap. You can see it here. But it'll have a much richer feel. And plus, it'll just be a canvas, so it'll be cool. So what I've done, I've taken my sketch, I've blown it up as big as my printer can go, so I tape them together. My printer can do 12 by 18, but it's really tricky to get the paper in. So it's 11 by 17. I just double printed it and put it on. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do a normal transfer. And if you guys like Sorel, use Sorel. If you like graphite, use graphite. If you just want to freehand draw it, freehand draw it. Do what you want to do. I don't care. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to stick this on. And just, like I said, this is really the same as I normally do it. So you'll see there's really not going to be too much difference. And I am recording all this, so we will turn this into a, a nice step-by-step down the road, if I can practice editing really well. But what you're going to see here is the canvas is stiff enough, but I don't want to push down too hard. I'm going to use a pen. And I'm just going to make sure it goes through. Okay? So see, you get a nice transfer. And we're going to go, and we're just going to transfer it all. And like I said, I'm doing this more of an illustration. So I'm actually going to come in with a pencil later, maybe do some shading. And if some of the pencil shows through, cool. This is going to be a painting, illustration. It's going to have a little bit of different character. I'm not trying for like a cell shaded animation, kind of what I would normally do on a motorcycle. I want it to have a painter feel, which again is going to be different for me. But you see, you get a nice transfer through, not super hard. And this way, because this is printed, that same technique, if I want to make like a loose template by cutting the paper and stuff like that, I can do that still, just like I do on a motorcycle or a car. I've always been big on, for years, it was always like, oh, that's an illustration technique. Oh, that's an automotive custom paint technique. Oh, that's a this technique. Oh, that's a this, and that's reserved for that. And I kind of call BS on that stuff because it's all technique. You know what I mean? So you want to be able to use any technique and learn it. Like I said, I could do this with a plotter. I could plot this like I've done in the past. I'm not going to. Is there a case where I'd plot this? Probably not. I mean, I can develop it one. If I was going to teach this in a classroom setting that was going to be more sped up, and it's more about the airbrushing than the design and layout, yeah, I could do this with a plotter so you don't have to sketch and you don't have to hand cut everything. Or if beginners, freehand is really tough, so if you don't have a lot of freehanding, in that realm, I'm going to take the freehand worry out by using the plotter to give you guys a cushion and a barrier to keep things clean and crisp and things like that. And the reason why you do a plotter on a motorcycle or car is half the time, sometimes I'm not there to actually when the car is being delivered or it's being prepped, and I'll get all the cut work done before I even get there and have to cut or do things on the car. Or if I got to do this twice, got to do this on both sides of the car, I want to plot something so it's going to keep it crisp and clean and things like that. And you got some beads. It's going to be like paper. You know what? It's just like a lapel. We're going to add and tweak some things along the way. I'm still in practice phase. Yeah, I'm going to recommend, Brian, you get away from those thin canvas boards. The texture's just killing you, man. The texture's so hard to work with. So if you're going to stick with those boards, get some gesso, and just brush a few coats on and get rid of some of that nap, and you can still see some of it. But get some boards, something that's either flat. If you're going to go into automotive, you really need to start getting a slicker surface, something that's smoother. So I would recommend you getting either the like aluminum panels like I have, or getting those panels a little smoother so you're not fighting that texture. And I think you're going to end up really enjoying the process more, because I think you're losing a lot of that color depth you want to see in that texture. Just my opinion. So so here's the deal. When I do those 12 by 18 panels, I'm only paying like $4 a panel for those, because I'm buying a 4 by 8 sheet. I get like 22 12 by 18s out of it. So that's like what, $5 a piece? So those metal aluminum polymetal panels are $5 a piece. I'm not sure what you're paying for those canvas panels. They do make some smoother board. The stuff Steve Leahy uses is like a smoother board. So you can always look into those. Well, like I said, if you have a bunch of those, just smooth them out. Get a tub of gesso. I would recommend the sandable. It's a little bit more money. But I put like 2-3 heavy coats of the sandable on here. Yeah, put one coat, let it sit, sanded it, put another coat, sanded it. And now I have a slicker canvas that's going to act more like a metal panel. Like I said, especially if you guys are going to go into automotive style airbrushing. Practicing on t-shirts and texture is good to learn, but you got to get smooth at some point. So when you get to an actual vehicle, you're going to have a better result. My Harbor Supply will deliver to your house a pre-cut sheet for like $100. There you go, man. Kelly Ross, what's going on, brother? Yeah, I called a sign shop close to me. You won't sell me a sheet. No, don't call a sign shop. Call a sign supplier. That sign shop gets his metal from somewhere local. Okay. But look at Kelly Ross saying, Brian, Harbor Supply, which I think you're both in Ohio, will deliver pre-cut. So, like place like Harbor Supply, I don't know specifically, but like I get stuff from Fellers. I used to call it Mariband. You can order sheets of aluminum. Yeah. They also have a super heavy. Yeah, they have a super heavy gesso, and this was a heavy gesso that's sandable. I'm not sure if all gessos are sandable. This one specifically said sandable, so that's why I went with that. Okay. So let's see what we got here. Should have a nice image transfer. Look at that. Beauty. So now I got a nice transfer, and if I want, now I can take a pencil. We can add some stuff. And like I said, if I see some pencil lines through it, I don't care. I can put a little shading in. If you looked at like Drew Struzan's, like when the paintings like Hellboy, you can see some of that pencil lead work through there, which I think is great. Like I said, this is more illustration, and I've actually done this on motorcycles. I've done pencil work. It's fine, as long as you clear it at the right times and don't let it. Let it go. Now, so jaw. You don't have to do this. I'm just doing it for the heck of it. And what I noticed earlier, even, and someone asked this before, and I didn't have a definite answer, like, can you do erasing techniques on canvas? And the answer is, yes, you can. Because even this, look, it erases just fine. So we're going to play with that as well. I use mixed media paper is great. And, oh, you know what else is good? The mixed media, what I used to use early days was Bristol board, or Bristol paper. But see, canvas, when you gesso it, won't kill the fine details. Because you're working with those, they're not really canvas, they just have an imprint of canvas in there, which is not actually true to canvas. Canvas is a little texture, okay? Because if you look really close at this one, I'll see if I can zoom in here. That texture is really small now, but it's still there. It's just really small. So yeah. But like I said, you can still do the erasing techniques. You can still do all that. I'm gonna do some stuff. Like I could actually use, because it's smooth enough, I could use a plotter film on this too if I wanted to. Especially the FBS gold mask will stick to canvases really well. So like I said, I can go through and you can shade. I think I'm gonna actually do like a little bit of glow to these eyes, which the Disney one doesn't glow, but in my head, maybe it should. Yeah, so, Paul, have you tried Yapo paper? No, I haven't tried that either. Hot press watercolor paper, yeah, you can do that. I think hot press, you got to be careful if you got a mask on it, if I remember right. I don't think Steve Leahy's here, but if Steve Leahy, I forget which way it went, one of them likes cold press and one likes hot press, and they battle over which is correct. I'm not an illustrator, I don't use a lot of illustrated paper, but Boston Yapo paper, Amazon liked it. Yeah. Yeah, so, like, but Brian, if you have a lot of those boards, just get some gesso, man, and go from there. All right, so my reference is going to be this kind of color cue. All right, so I'm going to work kind of around here, and I think what I'm going to do, just to kind of establish something right off the bat, is I'm going to use, I got to hope, I do have it. I'm going to show you an old illustrator trick I learned from Michael Casey. But before, we got to do my normal paper cut. So, but yeah, like I said, you can use Bristol board. You can use, they make some hard boards. You can use, you know, I think Rod Fuchs used to use a lot. He used to just get Masonite. He used to get Masonite, scuff it, and he'd put a couple coats of gesso on it. A lot of guys used to do that too. But if you're going to get into automotive, you got to start messing with the automotive types of paints. So I would recommend getting, I would wholeheartedly recommend getting some aluminum panels and working with those. My professional opinion. Just saying. Okay, so all that being said, let's make our first kind of stencil. And to do that, I gotta find my razor blade, which I've lost. There we go. Like I said, this is gonna be a two-parter, so I'm gonna work through this nice and slow. This is gonna be really illustration type. But this is honestly, this is the same process I do on a motorcycle or car as well. I have a pack, all my pants. Oh yeah. I dread when I have to move out of here. A couple years, I'd like to do, you know, a different house and build a more, I'd like to build a recording studio kind of shop, classroom. Something that down the road I can have people come in easier and learn and take some workshops. You know, I don't want anything big, but if I could have, you know, some one-on-ones and we could do, you know, maybe like 5 or 6 people in a class setting, that's my goal for the future as I get a little older. It can't happen in this house really like that, but I kind of like to build something like Simon Murray's setup in Ireland. That's kind of where I'd like this to go down the road. So we'll see if that happens. Okay, so I started using the cheap canvas boards because I end up throwing them away. Yeah. Well, the nice thing about the metal, Brian, is if you don't like something, you can just wipe it down with lacquer thinner and start over or sand them back down because they're metal. So, just some thoughts. Just some thoughts. All right, so Here's a good question. It's not a trivia question, but now normally I could use magnets when I'm on metal, or you can just hold it. How do I get this knot to move? Like, how am I going to get this knot to move on it? There's an old Illustrator trick on how to do it that I'm going to use. And I wonder if anyone knows it off the top of their head before I kind of show it. My paint studio has been flooded, so it'd be... Oh, sorry, man. That's crazy. Bob's like, carry out. Yeah, it's a plan, man. I'd like to, because I'm doing less and less motorcycle work, or I don't do any body work and clear and prep anymore. I just do the artwork on bikes. So that's kind of what I do. So eventually I do less and less of that. And so I want to make the studio more about illustration, classroom, the YouTube recording channel, things like that is kind of what I want to do. So punch a hole and tape. There you go, Joe. All right, so if you guys have never done this before, I saw this for the first time at a getaway in 2000. Hole punch. Just go around. Just go a little further than that. So yeah, see, you get a hole punch. So now, what you do, take a little piece of tape. We're going to get this in position just where we want it. Little piece of tape there. Little piece of tape there. Just make sure you tape all your holes. You're going to have a bunch of little holes everywhere. Well, there was nothing around here for classes either, man, when I started. It's just the thing. And here's the thing, guys. It's a lot of work, so don't take it lightly. But if you have enough, if you know enough people in your area, you can get 8 to 10 people in a body shop somewhere or a studio where we can do a class. I will come out and do one. And most artists will. There's ways we can get sponsorship, and Iwata will send out classroom brushes. And there's all sorts of ways to do it. So just something to think about if you ever want to put a class together in your area for people. You can do it. And this doesn't go off all the way, so look, I'm just going to take this and we're just going to do that. Go from there. I kind of cut this one a little wide, so look, I'm just gonna. So look, now everything's down. Yeah, I didn't get under here well. Boo. But now, you're down. You can do this on a motorcycle too. Especially if you're working on a fiberglass bike that you can't... that you can't get... what am I trying to say? Words. Sorry. That you can't get magnet stuff to stick to. So you can do the same process. So, oh, you know what? Maybe I can do... Yeah, let's do it this way. I'm going to slide this back. Steve. Thank you, Steve. It's David Campos. Bam. See, totally got new sounds. I didn't even know what that sounds like. Oop, that's not right. Huh. That was supposed to be a... Oh, maybe that... I think my... I don't know if my mics are sounded. Is the sound all right, guys? I think either my something. I think my headphones might have crapped out a little bit. Just see if sound looks normal. Check 1 2. Check. I think so. Check 1 2. Check. All right. Let me know if the sounds. Okay, sounds good there. All right. Cool. It was great when I started in my headphones, but they just kind of started janky, so I don't know. So we'll see. Yeah, XLR2. Weird. All right. Paint. Let's see what camera 2 looks like. No, we'll leave camera 1. Or we can do... Yeah, we can do GoPro cam, the wide shot. You can see all the chaos and mess. All right, so let's talk about... I want to mix the first 2 colors. I'm going to do the background. I'm going to use a purple and... I'm going to use a purple and magenta. We'll start there. I'm just saying, the only art around here is a bush-like pyramid. Nice. Okay, so we got a wicked detail, and I'm going to use a little magenta here. Now this is illustration colors. Illustration colors are fine on this. It's gesso, but if you're on a hard surface, a harder surface, you take a little 40-50. On a year high, I mean, you got a lot of custom painters and custom stripers around there. I'm going to put a little bit in each. It was a 40-50. Mixing sticks. See, I don't often show this shot. We got our little... where's my 4021? There we go. 4021. I'll show you guys how I mix it and get it ready to rock and roll. Boop. I just put a little bit to start. And here. And look, you don't have to. It's just good habit, man. I strain all my paints. I learned in automotive. We strain everything in automotive. It takes 2 seconds to do. Let's make sure my strainer is aligned. There we go. And super quick. Takes no time at all. I have one guy, he keeps saying, oh, strain is a pain. Oh, it takes too long. What'd that take? A second? 3 seconds? Trust me, that person who says that his work could benefit from 3 seconds of adjusting his paint. Easy peasy, just like that. So this one's ready to go. This one's ready to go. Let's see, did we get any hard stuff in there? No, this stuff was... Oh yeah, there's a little gummy chunk in there. If you can zoom in and see if I can... Let's see, if you look really, you can't really tell. There's like just a little chunk right there. Just a little bit. So, that's why straining helps. Just that little bit. That's all it takes, guys. Let's paint this. Like I said, I'm not selling this download. I'm not making money off of Disney IP. I'm painting my own version. This is how I paint illustration work. And maybe this does turn into a painting I can make prints of or do something with later. Who knows? We'll see. I don't want to get in trouble with the mouse. But yeah, like I said, this is part 1. Next week will be part 2. That'll give me some time to prep some other stuff and do some better trivia. And maybe next week we'll give away a large print or something. I got some decent questions. Cheers. Let's go to my new shot here. It's my new 3-camera shot. The water waves in the background, so we're underwater. Here we'll do a little pirate music. Ask any Disney questions now with Gerald here. He'll know them all. Gerald, what we're doing tonight, I'm sure you've heard. So did you see that they tried putting the new pile of gold skeleton? They did a new version where the face changes to a human back, which is kind of cool, but people didn't like it. I think they looked a little goofy, and Disney put the original skeleton back. I'm in favor of it. I think the original one is much cooler. I think the new one so in honor of that, I'm doing so we have some Pirates trivia questions. Oh, is the music still going? Oops, sorry. Sorry about that. I should have had my headphones on. You think it would be the R, but it would be... Yeah, I didn't have my headphones on, so I didn't hear the music come in too loud. That was something I added tonight, and I'm having some sound adjustment issues. It was from PC, started panicking. All right. All right, so, like I said, I want to keep the same color feel. So let's just take this. Yeah, I didn't realize that was coming in that loud. Let me double check the sound and see how that's coming in. Okay, so those sounds should be all right. Just trying to adjust some things. Check, 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 check. That might be a little bit better. Nope. Nope. So now. See, I can't. I think it's my headphones are the problem. So I'm gonna try not to mess with those too much. All right, all right, all right. So now we're gonna start working some purple background here. It's gonna be a lot more black up here, so we can just blend this out. Like I said, it's on the canvas, so now you can see that canvas texture, which is gonna be really cool towards the end. So for those who are just joining, your mic's out. My mic's out? How about now? Check, check, check. Oh, the master should be better now. How about now? God damn. Check, check, check. Let's see how that is. Hopefully that's better. It's always so many moving parts doing live. Check, 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 check. Better? Much better. Yeah, when I was trying to lower the other one, I think I lowered the lapel mic too much. So many moving parts. For those who have never seen the amount of moving parts, I know most have, there's some of the moving parts that we're working with. So this is all going on while I'm doing that. So we got the soundboards and we got all the different stuff and audio, and so I adjusted the wrong audio, I think. Whoops. Wrong. There we go. Reference image up. There we go. All right. Good, good, good. More stuff to deal with. So you can see in the reference there's some blue in here, some purple. There's a lot of black up in here. I don't want to go too black. Maybe you would take a little. What's the magic word, Gerald? What's the magic word? You know what the magic word is. Details. Let's get a little details in here. A little bit of texture. A little bit of grit. And maybe I'll come up with some other ideas to put back here. It'll be cool to maybe next week, I'm going to leave this a little open. Maybe like a silhouette, maybe have this like water. And we'll do like a silhouette of a ship here and like maybe like an island. And have that like the water edge. And we'll do like a little sunset. Do like an old school kind of beachy sunset. Yeah, yeah. There's going to be a little green lighting effect, but just for some mood. And then maybe we'll do some clouds up here. I love the texture effects for clouds because I'll just kind of move and keep a distance. And then I'll darken out here. Yeah, we'll do a little water's edge over there. Maybe do a little pirate silhouette scene. Yeah, that's kind of cool. Nice. Simple, simple. See, we're already starting to move. So that first color I used, so everyone, if you want to keep track, this was Detail Red Violet Wicked. I put like 5%, 40-50 in it. Don't really need to with the Wicked, but I'm doing it like as I would for a hard surface. Details, baby. That's right, Gerald. Gerald knows. You gotta know. It's his thing. Oh, man. I remember when that first started, Gerald. Man, Gerald couldn't get online or go on a video with other people in the room without people screaming and yelling, details. Well, I got a bottle of something, but I'm not really a rum guy, so I'm going to do a little whiskey. So you can pretend it's rum. Maybe I don't mind rum, it's just not my big thing. But maybe I'll make a dark and stormy or something for next week. All right, so now let's take this magenta. We're going to make this nice and bright. Because we can always darken this stuff later. We can add some white. And then. The devil's in the details. That's right, baby. All right. This is a little Wicked Detail Cobalt Blue. I already have this mixed up in my arsenal. You see that little blue in the corner there? I want to hit that. I want to hit that a little down here. Like I said, I want to add. I don't often do a lot of color pieces, and we're going to work color into this. And then we'll work those dark details and stuff like that. So we're going to go here, here. Yeah. I'm going to take that image away. Yeah. So you can still see the canvas has a nice tooth to it, but I don't have a lot of it. I got rid of a lot of it, but you can still see. I was almost going to sand out all the brush strokes. I was going to use a gesso with a roller, but I wanted brush strokes. It's just kind of something I wanted, so. Yeah. I really wanted an old canvasy feel. And I'm thinking, like, as we get close to the edge, we'll do some grit and grime and stuff around the edges. Maybe we'll use some paintbrush effects and paint markers. Maybe some crayon, not crayon, like colored pencil. We'll do a couple things in this. I really want to treat this like an illustration piece more than like an automotive piece, but the techniques don't change too much. So this will just be part one. The Friday feed is working for me. Oh yeah. Yeah, I'm not going to commit to every Friday because I do like my Fridays to be family and stuff, but I like that my feed is going to be Thursdays still. I might even move to Wednesdays. Thursday's getting crowded. Everyone wants to do Thursday. But, you know, I've been one of the original ones doing Thursday after Mike passed because Mike was the original that was really doing it. But so many people are doing Thursday nights, it's just getting to be difficult. So I don't know. We'll see. We'll see. All right, I'm going to take this aside. I want to keep this aside because I want to use this down the road. But see, now you get a nice... Oops. Now you're looking at me. Sorry about that. So, because it's paper, you get a nice soft edge that we're going to work with. I'm going to put this behind for later use. But same process. So now, the booze... I gotta find some music. Sorry, can you talk like a pirate? Yeah, we'll see. I'm not that confident. All right, so I want to work in here. Bring up a reference image. There's a lot of yellow in tones, but all this like black tone that looks black, but like see how it's green in here? It's a little brownish here. There's some green, so that's why we're not going to use straight black ever, but we're going to bring those darker colors in the end. I want to work in the skull with some weak browns, and then we'll start tinting over them with the yellows and the greens and the lighting effect colors, okay? So we're going to mix up a thin brown. I think I'm going to use a detailed burnt sienna and keep it kind of weak. Let me switch to the upper, yeah, I think that's... Oh, that one doesn't have the color in it. Sorry. Yeah, it's going to go there. So let's mix up the next color we're going to try. This is going to be Wicked Detail Burnt Sienna. Do I want to use that? Raw Umber. I'm trying to see what I want to use here. Oh, you know what? I think this will... Gerald, what do you think? I'm going to do this start carving some of the details of the skull. I'm thinking, do I want to do it in the Wicked Opaque Yellow Oxide, thin it down with a raw sienna, with the burnt sienna? I think the burnt sienna is going to be too orangey. I think I might do the yellow oxide and cut it and start working the skull details. I think the raw umber is going to be way too dark. I think that'll come in after. What about sepia? Sepia would work as well. I don't know if I have one. Sepia does have a nice green tone to it, actually. It's not a bad idea. Do I have sepia on my rack here? I don't know if I do. Umber. Raw umber. Ooh, illustration sepia. That could work. What about Reishi? There you go. All right, so let's do the illustration sepia. I think that's going to be better. Let's work with that. Because I don't make a sepia in the Wicked line that I'm aware of. So what we're going to do is we're going to make that. And I don't, like I said, I don't need to. This is illustration, so I'm not going on automotive. So I don't really have to add the 40/50 into it. And in this case, I'm just going to use it straight because I can do erasing on the canvas. So If you were on metal and you want a little bit more bite, then yeah, I would add just a little 40-50 into it just to give it a little more sticky and flow. Yeah. Oof. That one's, uh-oh. This one's old. There's a whole plug on this one, or it's never, it's just never been used. Huh. Yeah, no, super good call. And then what I have to do is I have to go back and edit, and I can edit the graphics with the paint bottle coming. Whoop. All right, so we got our, now, you know what, this one hasn't been used. I'm gonna shake the shit out of it. Or maybe, you know what? I've never used one of these on the channel, but I have one for when I do models. You ever see one of these guys? Sorry. It's a vortex mixer. There's a ball in here. I mean, I did have this churning earlier, so it should be fine, but let's make sure. If you don't have one of these are really good. They work really, really well. How do you know when it's time to toss the paint? When it's just old and bad. Yeah, so these little things, this is a vortex mixer. I have my big rotary wheel, the wheel of death, that just churns them, you know, for, like, I usually turn it on like an hour or so before I start mixing paints. But these are great, especially if you put a metal ball in here, a steel ball that's magnetic, because this spins and it'll spin the ball inside. So, good little handy tool to have around. All right, so paint. I'm gonna get it in. And just to be on the safe side, what are we gonna do? Strain it. Use a big strainer. Should just go right through. Brandy new. This is an old bottle. This is well over 2 years old. And it's never been opened that I can tell. So let's see if there's anything in it. Yeah, here's one little chunker. See, that's why you strain, man. Because you never know if you're going to get a... I mean, I might have used this before. You never know if there's going to be some dried paint here, dried paint in the cap, somewhere that's going to pop out. That's why I strain. And if you want to get super fine, like if you're going to go through a micron and you want to just be on the safe side, that's why I use these guys. These you can get from Amazon. They're a really fine screen. Maybe I will pull out the micron. You don't need to. But you'll see this takes a little longer to get through. And I didn't do any reduction, so what I should have done was reduce a little first. Let me kind of fix that out here. Now these guys, these screeners, what else can I mix? So these strainers are super fine, so make sure you clean them really well after your use. And then I reduced it first, so when you reduce it first, it's going to flow through a little bit better. Oops, too much. And you can give it a little swirl through it. I'm making a mess here. So this is real-time painting, guys. Like a lot of times when I'm doing those feeds, I'm 2 hours before. I'm getting the colors, mixing them, straining them, making the graphics for it, all that stuff. That's the stuff you guys don't see. But this is more of a real time. I'm going to have a better plan of colors next week, but I just didn't get it all done in time for this week. But now that all the graphics and everything is set and everything's kind of set and the painting's set, by next week's feed I can really focus on the details and the nuances of the painting a little bit more and how that's going to play out. So let's get back into things. Maybe I can lower this painting down a little bit. You'll get a slightly better angle on it. So if you like this more real time, let me know, as opposed to things being done ahead of time. That was, I didn't tape one of the holes, so I'm going to get that purple out of there. It's just bugging me. It's just bugging me. Can you spray pearlized Createx through a micron? No. I'll correct myself. You could probably squeeze it through, but it's not good. You're going to ruin, you're gonna get, that flake is gonna pile up in that micron, and if you don't get every drop out, it's gonna forever ruin that expensive nozzle. If you're gonna spray pearl, spray it. Pearl is big. You want atomization with pearl. You don't want it super fine. You want a smooth spray. So no matter how much you thin it, you're not gonna thin the particle of pearl. And I know pearl's really small, but it is gonna jam up in that 0.18 fluid nozzle. And it's not going to atomize well. Okay, so the biggest thing is not going to atomize. It's not going to atomize well. You really want to spray pearl or metallics through an eclipse, like a 0.35. They're going to atomize nice and smooth. They're going to be a nice transition. You can still get in there with details and have the pearl be detailed. But if you try to put it through a micron, you're not going to get any detail benefit out of it, really. So I would run it through that, or even a 0.5 or a TH or TH2 or something like that. I would not run pearls through a micron. There's no benefit to it, okay? But there is a huge downside if you mess up your micron. You're going to spend $50 on a jam nozzle that has a bunch of pearl in it. Because by the time you scrape it all out, if you leave it there, you're going to have a problem. That's just my 2 cents. Can you get anything to spray through? Yeah. It's like the old Meet the Fockers. You can milk anything with nipples if you try hard enough. So I guess you can get anything through a micron if you try hard enough. I just wouldn't really recommend it. So that's my 2 cents. Part of the learning curve in straining is when it's too thick, it just sits there. Yeah, if it just sits there, just take a brush and just work it, and it'll kind of sift it through the strainer. Or it just means you got to thin it more for that type of strainer, or use a wider gauge strainer. But a lot of times I just use a popsicle stick, or I use one of those those flat cleaning brushes. Let me see if I have one here. Or even an old flat brush like this, and just work it through. It'll push it through there. So yeah. Okay. All right, let's go. Yeah, like Tanner, like it's one of those, you can, but should you? Probably not. There's no benefit to it. Oh, no. So yeah. Like it's like even tricky running white through a micron, because if the white's super heavy pigmented, there's not much benefit to it, because it's just going to be you're gonna reduce it so much and thin it so much that you've taken most of the white pigment away that makes it an opaque white. So yeah. All right. So do I like this view, or is it too much going on? Oh, we can just go here. Let's go there. All right, so now I think this is a little too heavy. I'm going to add a little extra reducer to it, if I can find my reducer. I'm going to lower that air pressure down. I'm going to go from my normal 35 to closer to 20 for this. There we go. Yeah, I want this super thin. You know what we should do for the Friday feeds? Maybe we'll do it every month where it's like first Friday of every month will be a Friday feed. It always seems to be a big artist thing, like first Friday. Yeah, anything is, yeah, this is definitely could be up for bids. So we're using a sepia tone here. This is going to be cool because when we put like yellow washes and some of the green, it's going to really be bright. And then I can take the sepia and I can add a little bit. I can add a little black to the sepia to carve those details. Gary Shees. So the story behind, I talked about it earlier, the story behind the pirate at Disney is they've come up with a new version of this pirate that's got like an animatronic, not animatronic, it's the face basically, the face goes from a skeleton back to a human, back to a skeleton. It animates and moves and stuff using projection mapping, which is cool. But it lost some character for this skeleton specifically, who's got so much character just standing there, tells such a good story standing there. It didn't actually need any improving, and I think was the big gist of it. And people didn't like it. So Disney changed it. People didn't like it. And people made it known, and Disney changed it back. I think it was only up. You guys can look it up and let me know, but I think it was in place for like less than a week. At least it seemed that way. Like people were adamantly or vehemently against it. Like they just didn't like it. It had a weird uncanny valley to it. It just didn't fit the aesthetics well. Like, I liked the concept of what it was trying to do, but man, I think it was just it was just a flop. It didn't work. And maybe they used that technology in a different skeleton somewhere, but I think the problem is this one is so iconic. It's like between this one and the one holding the steering wheel, you know, in the windstorm. I don't think you can change those, man. They're so iconic. Tater Style, what is the best person? I want a high line. It's in between the micron. Honestly, that's my really day-to-day go-to because the micron's kind of overkill for a lot of this stuff. The 0.18, 0.23 is not really as needed. And some of the high lines do actually have the 0.23 anyway. It just doesn't have the matched head system. So for the money, they're just awesome. I would go high. If I had to choose between a couple high lines and one micron, I'd get a couple high lines. I think the high lines do a really great job where the micron is not necessary for a lot of what we use it for. So I'd go high line before I go micron realistically. Like how you stretched out his chin and gave him pointy. Yeah, thank you. I tweaked it. I opened the mouth a little bit. I gave it a little bit more my skull style. I didn't want to do a copy of this photo. I just wanted to kind of honor and kind of pay homage to it. You know what? Now's a good time to, since we didn't really give away the first one, let's do another trivia question, if I could find my sheet. Hold on before I talk. Here we go. Okay. All right. Let's do another trivia. And this one, continental U.S., Canada only, because UK is going to cost too much to ship shit. And we're not getting into the politics of that. All right. Let's do another question here. This will be for some Down and Dirty Trick stickers and a full Strain It kit. If you already have a Strain It kit, if you win it, if you want to download instead, you can let me know. You're going to have to go to my socials if you win, tell me you won, and give me those. So I would prefer you either go to Instagram or Facebook for this. Okay, question number 2. Before Pirates of the Caribbean became a boat ride, what type of attraction was Walt Disney originally considering? Again, this is for some stickers and Strain It. What do we got here? Oh, that's what I need. I need like, no, we'll have to do this. Who has the answer to? The question again is, before Pirates of the Caribbean became a boat ride, what type of attraction was Walt Disney originally considering? Nope, not the duck ride. If you guys answer this, don't listen. And Michael, congratulations on doing the new stuff. I'll be updating you on the way. 3 years of service. Yeah, I know the music's louder than me. Here we go. That's right, Gary. A walk-through museum. Technically a walk-through wax museum. Got to get that music adjusted super loud. Yeah, I will mess with those sounds. I think that is because my XL, no, one. It's weird because, yeah, man, that's coming in, that should be really, you know what it is? It's not showing, I'm not getting levels. I'm going to try something here. I know this might blast on me, but I'm going to be toning it down here. That should be a little better, because I think it was up here before. Way up here. I'm going to put it down here. Hopefully that should be better there. Sorry about that. Never been to Disney. Read his lips. Okay, so Gary got that. It was a wax museum. It was a wax walkthrough museum. Was the original one. We actually have one in Salem. So Salem, Mass, which is Halloween Town and witch museums and everything else. They have a big pirate history as well, obviously, because from Boston down to the Caribbean was a big trade route. Perfect right there. Good. Hopefully we'll leave it there. So in downtown Salem, there's a pirate history museum as well, which is pretty much what Pirates of the Caribbean was going to be originally. So yeah, sorry, gotta move my chair. Ow, knee. All right. All right, so like I said, we're gonna go in and do some sepia tone. Start just kind of sketching things out. Because remember the rule, you can always add more paint and go darker. It sucks to try to take it away and lighten things up. So I'd rather do 2 or 3 passes to get to the color than one-shot it and then overshoot it and not be happy with it. Shoot, I never knew that. Bobby, what's that? You didn't know about the pirate one in Salem? Actually, I want to go down to Salem soon because I know they're opening the new museum that Matt Rife and his partner there are doing. And they got the actual original Annabelle doll, the real one, and a bunch of other weird things. Let me know if you go, man. We'll tag team it and do some video. Like I said, you could go in here. What's the best transfer tape? Honestly, vinyl transfer tape, I use the R tape, the paper type for the most part. If I got to see through it and like double overlay, I use the, again, R tape, what's AT75, Apple Tony 75. That stuff is clear and actually stretches really nice over curved surfaces, so I tend to use that. But regular conform R-tape series has been great for me for all these years. The paper type. Release is easy, transfers nice, doesn't pull the vinyl up. So I tend to use that. I think this camera needs to be lightened up a little bit. Oop, wrong one. Sorry. Sorry. Whoa, that's too bright. That's too bright as well. I shouldn't have done this now. I went the wrong way. Whoa. See, we're on the wrong way. There we go. That might be a little better. There we go. Sorry about that. Yeah, man, Bobby, let me know. I forget where you're out of. Exactly. Oh, my paint just got a lot thinner. So what just happened is, remember when I started thinning at the beginning? Everything that was super, super thin was at the top, and it finally got through the nozzle. So now my paint's a little too thin. That's kind of an issue sometimes. You're welcome, Steve. But what you're going to see here, this is so much nicer than trying to do this with black. you know, try to do this with black, get nowhere to go. There we go. And so, like I said earlier, you can still do erasing with this. So see how we got a little fuzzy here. I can go in and make that tooth really crisp. And so canvas, you can work just like illustration board and stuff like that. So this is the first canvas on the live feed that I've ever done. And depending if people like it or not, it could be the last. I'm kind of digging it though. Mike, how's it going? Welcome. I got 46 of you guys here on a Friday night. It's nice to see that we all don't have Friday night lives anymore. Sorry. Kind of true though. But I can say I don't know if I miss it. I had fun back in the day, but now oh, you weren't here at the beginning. So yeah, this is a gallery wrap canvas, like 1.5 inches thick. And I took some of the extreme nap out of it. I did I brushed 2 rounds of gesso, sandable gesso. So it's a much smoother surface to paint on, but still leaves texture. But it still has that warm canvas feel, but the texture's not too much. So I think that's really, really cool. And then I think whatever I do on this will be a traditional varnish on it, like a satin, a semi-gloss varnish, as opposed to a clear coat. Just so it's done more of a traditional way. Yeah, it has that look. And I left the brush strokes this way, and I took the heavy spots out of it, but so it's still pretty smooth. But I wanted to leave some of the texture in here to make sure it felt like a painting. And I think the pirate will be cool to be done as like a painting. What I am gonna do while I got the color out, I just want to tone it. Oh, you can't see the questions. Yeah, I haven't painted the canvas in years. One of the only canvases that's ever been painted by me is in my dining room. It's a mechanical, like, it's actually a mechanical koi, like a cyberpunk koi. If you saw my SEMA one I did last year, that was inspired by this one that's hanging in my dining room, which is like a mechanized steampunk koi. And it's one of my favorites. My wife loves the painting. Like, I love it. It took me a while to kind of feel like, oh, the canvas texture, and it looks a little different, and you know, the lines aren't as crisp, and it was just different for me to get my head around. And I think, and you can let me know I think I might make the eyes glow a little green or another color. We'll see when we get to the end. Oh, that's cool. Yeah, I haven't done a canvas in so long. I mean, I've done some. Like the big one behind me. So that big koi painting, that's brushwork. Like big hairy brushwork and some airbrush, very little on a big old canvas. And I kind of like it as is. Like I was going to do a lot more with it, but I like the kind of organic feel of it. So just kind of a cool one I did. And I'm not trying to put too much in here because we're going to be adding color, like yellow washes and things like that. And then that'll go before we do any of the dark tones. And I'm thinking next week maybe some pop-up members only live streams. I'll maybe work on a little section of this before next week and before the live for everyone. I want to start giving guys who are members and supporters of channels more like private access for the support, and I'm eventually going to do a new tier, but I don't want to launch a new tier till I'm really ready to commit to a lot of extra time. Yeah. Actually, all the members who are here, which let's give you guys another shout out here. You know, all you members here, and like I said, Mike McClung, you're now a blue skull, but I haven't updated that. I think Mike Manning, Chris Garcia, you're all blue. John, Steve, Big Mountain Calvin, they were the first ones on. They've been 3 years. You guys all hit, anyone who's got a blue skull has hit 3 years, which thank you so much for that. I said this earlier, but I might have missed some of you not here. You guys who are members, post in the comments or message me some alternate nights or times of day when a members only stream would be cool. And maybe it's a recording I just put up after I paint for like an hour and just send it up to you guys. But I would like to do like more of a behind the scenes for members. Like, I'm kind of running around like crazy. I thought about starting to do my feed like a half hour before it goes live for members only, and you can kind of see the chaos behind the scenes. But I don't know if I'm ready for that commitment, unless I had an assistant. But I definitely want to do some more stuff for members. So let me know some ideas. Maybe put some comments here. Like maybe I can search it. Maybe hashtag members, and then put something in there, and I'll see what I can figure out. What's better days and times. I really need to, because I think it's got better communication settings, do a Patreon for members, maybe for the next tier up, because it's easier to like communicate like privately with members there. It's just one more to track though is my issue. So I think my goal for tonight, we're about 9:40, about 20 minutes out from, I don't like to really go over 2 hours, but you guys are hanging in. We'll get this skull rendered out here. Let me turn that off, sorry. We'll come in a little tighter. So I don't want to do too much here because we're going to be putting some color. Maybe they'll use that new Createx fluorescent green tone for these eyes because it's bitchin'. That's 2:45 a.m. here. Oof! Well, thank you for being up here at 2:45. Someday I'll get to the UK. I was in Germany this past year, so maybe one day. Steve with a big ol' super chat. Cub, bam, bam, bam. We're gonna do it all. And we'll give a thank you, Steve. Really, really, really appreciate it. I do love the way the illustration flows, man. It flows so nice. Well, it goes both ways. You guys make me a better one too because it pushes me to try new things. Because honestly, when you're painting, I do so much commercial work for clients, you get kind of pigeonholed in the same stuff all the time. So the nice thing about these live streams is it forces me to kind of get out of that and try different stuff. And then also figure out how to teach it and explain it. And it just opens up a whole new thing for me. So yeah, definitely is mutual. Okay, so then we're gonna get. Oh, let's bring up the reference image here. This came together pretty well. I wasn't sure how this was gonna work. Oh, for those coming late, I would last week's stream. So for those who weren't here earlier, I explained last week's. That was this guy. The stream did not work out well. It was coming along all right, but I was having issues with the heat, and I have the ACs running tonight, so I'm at a better 76 degrees up here and 30% humidity instead of 65% humidity, which was killing me. It was also killing the paint flow last week. But in that, I also realized this image has a lot of nuance and a lot of different things, a lot of color changes and angle changes. It's just too subtle and too hard to do live, and there's a lot of tedious work to it. So the plan for that painting is I'm not gonna skip it, even though that one's gone. As soon as that feed ended, I took ice-roll alcohol and I wiped it out. I was so dissatisfied with the feed. And I've never done that. I've never cut a feed but there was just too many converging issues. Paint, heat, temps, mood, everything was going in. So my plan is to redo that as a step-by-step how-to, where I'm going to record it, and I can edit it and put like long shots together into small things and explain it, things like that, so you get the most out of it. That one was going to be so long and tedious and boring to watch, and I couldn't explain everything I was doing on the fly and answer questions. So that stream and that video is going to be much better as a long form recorded with edits. Whereas live, it just wasn't working live. Okay, so that's why I ended up. Jammer, what's going on, man? So that's what happened last week. I dumped out of that. I talked about it before. I have a dump button where if things go sour, and I usually only use it if things go bad, like technically. And I guess it kind of was. So yeah, I dumped out and just reassessed before because I wiped it out afterwards. I was about to wipe it out live on camera, which I know would have been great for ratings in some ways, but then it would have been bad for others. So yeah, no, I'm not it just was too much to try to do. You know, I bit off more than I could chew with that painting live, because I've already painted it on, you know, that metal panel. But the problem with that one is it was I think I painted the original one over the course of like 4 or 5 days, and there's a lot of subtle transitions that I figured I could pull this off live, and I just couldn't. So that's what happened with that one. So it's not dead. It's just that feed's gone. I deleted that as soon as I was off. But we're gonna make it happen. We'll make it happen. Just not that one. I do not know what is happening with my chat, but I'm trying to say hello. Okay. Oh, whatever. Thanks, man. And so I was thinking all week, how do I make it up? And I've been when I saw this whole thing with Disney with this thing, I was like, oh, that'd be a fun thing. And I like doing pirate ones. I haven't done a pirate piece in a while. So you can still get that nice crisp line, but you are going to get that texture. But man, this texture is actually going to be really cool because this is fabric, so it's going to have a really cool tone to it. And members, don't forget, I did upload a video today on how I concepted this. See, this paint, see how nice this paint's just flowing. I do love the illustration. Just look at these little lines, just effortlessly. I'm at 20 psi. And I could be here just doing this all day without a problem. And the great thing about this suggestion of sepia is I can do the sepia pretty much to almost all this, because the sepia tone works with all this whole thing, and when I do the browns and blacks and things like that. So Ray Shea for the win with the sepia suggestion from earlier in the feed. All right. Ray Shea, you will get, that's from Gary. Ray Shea, you're going to get the strainer kit, some stickers for your awesome contribution. So message me all your details and we'll get that out to you. How many hours? How many hours for what? Do you think? You talk about the other painting, Steve, or? See, now you just bought the strainer, and I got to figure out more stuff to send you. Thank you so much. But see, the nice thing about sepia, notice how many times I'm going over this and I'm still getting darker, which works like a candy without being a candy, so you don't have to deal with like bleed issues and things. That's why I like the transparency of the illustration or the wicked detail colors. Thank you so much, guys. This has been, I think, one of the best best Super Chat streams in a long time. I know money's tight on everyone. So I really appreciate it. But see, I can just keep doing, that's what when you get this illustration running right, look, I can just sit here and just detail forever. And that's the, man, when you get paint running right, whether it's water-based or solvent, and you get that running, you can just sit here and detail without worry, without struggle. And I did put 40/50 in this, so this is automotive safe. Like, I can illustrate with this on a bike. Astro, man, it's nothing, man. Thank you very much. Your support, sharing, commenting, all that stuff is also a huge help to the channel. It's not about super chats. You know, being here, you've been here for years as well, and I know it. Like, just being able to freehand like that. Yeah, no, when I get it does. And man, it's the opposite when I'm not. Oh, Steve, 4050 is an additive that turns any acrylic, like water-based, into an acrylic polyurethane. So UVLS clear, a 4050. This is what's already in Wicked and Wicked Transparent, Wicked Opaque, which makes it incredibly durable, sticks to hard surfaces and soft, and it's flexible. But if you add this to illustration colors, it also turns it into hard surface paint, so it won't scratch off easy. You'll lose the erasability of it if you put too much of this in, but you'll get durability and light fastness and things like that. So you add like 5 to 10% into any water-based paint, regular airbrush, Cratex colors, or the illustration, and you can go motorcycle and stuff like that. The color, Rick, is... I will let Ray Shea explain the color because she picked it. Because it didn't dawn on me to use this color until she said it. But this is from the illustration line, which on an automotive you wouldn't use it. You wouldn't use it on motorcycles as is because it's designed for canvas and illustration paper. So it stays really scratchy and loose. You can take it off really easy. So you wouldn't want that on a bike or hard metal. But adding the 4050 turns it into a polyurethane version of the same paint, and it'll work on hard surface all day long. This might be one of the things, like, if I just decide to pick up and paint this for like 20 minutes, I will set up a members only stream and just paint for like a little bit in Q&A. And that way you guys can really see how everything progresses slowly and work this out. You can kind of see from there. I'm missing James, we buy it by the case. Oh, the 4050? Yeah. Same here, man. On the bigger work. Hope everyone had a good, safe time at Sturgis. Well, if they're still there. Actually, is he still there? Or is he back? I've been seeing a bunch of my buddies there. So you know what I think I need to do before I close out tonight? I want to get a little drop shadowing here. So let's take this guy. Looks good with white. And then next week we'll start getting this set up. I will be taking bids on this, and we'll just probably wait till next week to kind of open that up. But I think regardless of what happens, I think this will be something I might want to make some prints of. sepia. No, yeah. Sepia is part of the illustration colors. Yeah, we'll open up the bidding on this next week and see where it goes. And then this will, I like I said, I will probably make prints of this, so other people can do it, or maybe some shirts or so. I'll figure something out. But I definitely got to figure out. I'm going to put a little pirate, do a silhouette of a pirate ship scene here. Maybe something from the ride, and just kind of figure out what to do here. And then we'll figure. Maybe I'll hide some stuff in. Definitely got to do a hidden Mickey or so, or something inside. And we'll do more trivia next week as well. And I'll definitely give away a print of another thing next week, so we've got to be here for that. So we'll definitely do next Thursday night, 8 p.m. And we'll really make some headway on this. And in the interim, this week, I'll do some headway, and whenever I pop onto this, I'll try to do. I'll just pop on the stream and for members only, and you'll be able to see that. Members will be able to see it after the fact too. So if you're not already a member, that's the you can hit that QR code there. Half the size of golf Austin videos. Oh, let's see what that is. So if you're not already a member, you can hit that QR code here and join up. Be a Down Dirty Trickster, and then you'll be able to see the members only content like tonight. For those who, if you didn't catch it, I did a quick video on how I concepted this and got it ready for tonight. So feel free to check that out. And that is members only. So yeah, there you go. Hey, it's coming out cool. I'm digging it. I like the start of it. I like the theme. It's gonna be a fun painting. First canvas ever on the channel. You know, it's nice thick canvas too. This is, like I said, it's that gallery wrap. And I'll paint around the sides too, so if someone doesn't frame it. Yeah. What do you guys think? You like the canvas work? You like everything? Yeah, so you can buy this canvas at Michael's. This is one of their higher end ones. It was like 35 bucks, I think. And then I bought $20 of gesso, sandable. You know, it already comes primed, but you can still have a pretty heavy texture. So I wanted to gesso it. Basically, heavier primer. I put 2 rounds of gesso on there, and that's sandable gesso. So I got some brush strokes worked in there. I was gonna roll it, but I kind of wanted to see the brush strokes on there. Is Dan here? Is Airbrush Power here? Coming in late at the end. Well, early, midday for him. Adora Extreme Boy. Cool. Thank you very, very much. Appreciate that. Rick Mayer, can you catch? Yeah. I'm just gonna catch up here. Yeah, the canvas is cool. I think I'm gonna do more of these. You know, we used to joke back in the day, you know, a $20 design on a T-shirt, you know, a $75 to $100 design on a panel, $150 on a piece of metal, $700 on canvas for the same painting. It's just the way canvases are viewed because it's more traditional painting, so people see more value in it. You know, it's just always been a thing. So, but I've never done one on the stream, so I figured this would be a great theme to do it because it is a pirate painting. It should kind of have a more piratey feel, and I think a canvas is just right. And whoever gets this, man, put it in a big gothic, gnarly, twisted, old gold leaf frame would be awesome. Yeah, exactly. I didn't do the Alumicore, and we did a poll at the beginning. And it was 50-50. You know, half you guys wanted it on metal, half wanted canvas. I'm glad we're doing canvas. And for a full color illustration, I think it's gonna be really cool. And once I start washing in these colors, I'm using this as a style cue for color. We get these greens and yellow lighting. You know, a little green here, you can see it there, and then all that in, I think it's just going to look really cool. We'll brighten out here. We'll do a little scene here. Yeah, it'll be fun. We used to make that so just, yeah, no, dude, that was it. That see, Dan, we're old. We're old. That was the joke. Yeah, we all talked about in the '90s because we used to airbrush T-shirts in the '80s and '90s, and it's like the same shit. We would spend like 2 hours doing a portrait or something, 3 hours on a T-shirt for $80. And if you would put that on a canvas and did some brush work, it'd be like $1,000 for the same work. If you put it on a metal panel on a car, you might get $800 for it or $500 for it. It was always, it's honestly, it still hasn't really changed. So I think the canvas would be a lot better for this. Maybe we'll do more of it in the future. You know, I got some half metal tanks too to do some gas tank. We got SEMA coming up. I got a couple SEMA projects I got to start laying out and getting the works. So SEMA is going to be a killer. I got a couple cool ideas. I'm doing a painting for Iwata right now, and I'm talking with a few others. I'm not doing the Indasa one. I backed out. I bowed out of that one. I wasn't happy with the performance of the way they set it up last year, and I just didn't want to put 40 hours into a painting for that this year. So yeah. But I think that's it, man. It's 10 past 10, 2 hour and 10-minute feed. Let's do this. Yeah, I think, we do, hold on, here we go. Yeah, so I think that's looking good. I think it's a really cool setup. I'm liking the direction. I think the sepia is going to work. And we would really get a lot of that texture. And, you know, this is definitely more my style than the photo reference. You know, like I said, I'm not doing one-to-one. Yeah, I think it'll be cool. Start getting all these different tones in here, and almost no black. There'll be a little bit black at the end we'll use, and that'll be it. And I'm thinking even some brush work and some paint marker work, so little details, and maybe some grit around the corner and some staining and some texturing, and just make this look like a really cool painting. And those super chats really help. I know not everyone can afford, you know, $300, $400, $500 for a painting or more, but those $10, $20 super chats throughout these feeds are going to really make the time I'm spending on this worth it. I think I started this at noon today, realistically, is when I started laying this out. So yeah, so the poor guy needs some. Right. So yeah, that's how many hours goes into sketching and designing and graphics and doing all the stuff that goes with it. So a lot goes into these feeds, and your support really helps that. Because all this, you know, the video overlay, the photo, the reference, the images, all that stuff takes time. So yeah, any suggestions you guys have would be great, and let me know some times of days that might work for you guys, and I'll do some pop-up streams and things like that, and go from there. So, damn, Steve, that's super amazing. I don't have enough clap filters to do it. Thank you so much, guys. I really appreciate it. Ray, reach out. I'll get that sent out to you early next week. And we'll bring this guy up a little bit more and be like, hey, that looks like me. Look at that. So, always got to have a good skull reference. This is one of those old glow-in-the-dark skulls from like the 70s and 80s models. That's how old this guy is. Way back. But he's a great reference. See? Look at that. See you guys. Have a good night. Peace. See you next week.